Touch delay everyone and welcome to class 11 biology. In the earlier class, that is in chapter 2, we discussed about biological classification and we focused mainly on five kingdom classification by R.H. Whitaker. So in that chapter, we discussed in detail the three kingdoms, that is kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista and kingdom Fungi. So in today's class, that is in chapter 3, we shall discuss on plant kingdom. So this plant kingdom classification, it is further classified into various classes. So let us just look at the system of classification in plant kingdom. The artificial system of classification, it mainly deals with the vegetative character or some other external morphological features. And this artificial system of classification was proposed by Linnaeus. Since it considers only some of the vegetative and some morphological features, then there is another type of classification which focus mainly on the ultrastructure of the cell, anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry of the plants. Okay, such a system of classification, we call it as natural classification, natural system of classification, and it was given by Bentham and Hooker. Now, the latest and the most accepted form of most accepted system of classification is phylogenetic system of classification. This phylogenetic system of classification is based mainly on evolutionary relationships of various organisms. So in this case, you can see that different species, okay, at the same taxa, okay, at the same level, they might, or you can say they can share a common ancestor here. So species A and species B, they have a common ancestor here. And likewise, the okay, species A and sorry, species 1 and 2, they have a common ancestor here. And then again here, at some point, species 3 also is related with species 1 and 2 because they have a evolutionary relationship, that is, they share a common ancestor. Well, so again we talked about taxonomy. So taxonomy, which deals with the classification of an organism. It also deals with nomenclature and identification too. Now let us talk about different types of taxonomy. So numerical taxonomy. So numerical taxonomy is nothing but, okay, so all the observable characters of the plant are taken into consideration and these characters are given number and codes and which are then later processed in computer. So uh, it give this one importance to all the part of the plant. Next is cytotaxonomy. So cytotaxonomy is based on some cytological informations like chromosome number, chromosome structure, and behavior of these chromosomes. Now the third type of taxonomy, that is chemotaxonomy. So chemotaxonomy is based on the chemical constraint of the plant. Okay, so it helps the taxonomists to resolve certain confusion based on this chemical component of the plant. Okay, now regarding the plant kingdom or kingdom Plantae, let us look at the classification. So the classification of plant kingdom is again based on various criteria. The first one is the type of body, plant body. So the first level of classification is whether the plant body has a differentiated body or they do not have differentiated body. Okay, so when we say differentiated body, the body is differentiated into root, stems, and leaves. So based on this, okay, the plant kingdom, all the organism under plant kingdom, they are okay initially divided into two groups. That is one which do not have differentiated plant body and the one with a differentiated plant body. Okay, so the plant which do not have a differentiated plant body are kept under a division, that is Thallophyta. Okay, under Thallophyta division. Next, now the group of plant having a differentiated body part again are classified, okay, based on the presence or absence of vascular tissue. So if there is no specialized, without specialized vascular tissue here refers to xylem and phloem, which helps in conduction of minerals, waters, and nutrients, and the photosynthase. Okay, so this again here, the one which is without specialized vascular tissue, that is without xylem and phloem, those groups are kept in a division called bryophyta. Now the remaining one, the one with the vascular tissue, again these are further classified based on the production of seed or absence of seed. The one which do not produce seed are kept under Pteridophyta, division Pteridophyta, and the one which are able to produce seeds are further classified. They are further classified based on whether the seeds are covered or naked. The seed produced, if they are naked, then they are kept under gymnosperms, and the seeds which is covered by fruit, they are placed under angiosperm. So this is how the plant kingdom or kingdom Plantae are further classified into 5 divisions. So the 5 divisions here are Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. Okay, so in this video session, let us first talk about the Thallophyta. These Thallophyta includes mainly that of algae. Okay, so when we say algae, or we can say the algae is a type of plant. So when we say this, what comes into your mind? What color do they have? Okay, usually we'll say plant are the photosynthetic organisms. So that means what comes into your mind is that they should bear a pigment to absorb the solar energy. Okay, so the major pigment here, okay, is the chlorophyll. So this group of algae, okay, they have a chlorophyll, and the body is very simple. The body is very simple, and they are thalloid. The body is undifferentiated. They do not have root, stems, and leaf. And since they bear chlorophyll, they have the ability to do photosynthesis. That means they are able to synthesize their own food. That is, the algae are the autotrophic organisms. And talking about their habitat, they are largely aquatic. Okay, so habitats are, you can find them in freshwater, marine water, brackish water, and also on the moist stones, in the soils, and on the woods. And some of them, they live in association with the fungi to form lichen. They also live in association with animals like sloth bear. So on the sloth bear, you can find here this green algae. Next, talking about its characteristics, body features, the body is undifferentiated. Okay, so we call it as thallus, and the whole body is covered by mucilage layer, and there is absence of xylem and phloem. And talking about the pigments, chlorophyll are not the only pigment present. There are other pigments present like xanthophyll, fucoxanthin, and then xanthophyll, fucoxanthin, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, carotenoid. So combination of these different pigments, okay, the combination of these different pigments give a different color to the algae. Okay, so it can be red, brown, green. Now talking about the body form in the algae, it can be from unicellular, colonial, filamentous, and then profusely branched structure like this. Now talking about the mode of reproduction, reproduction can take place through vegetative means by means of fragmentation. So if a part of the plant algae is fragmented, it breaks. When it breaks, each broken part will develop into a new thallus and thus new individual. And by asexual means, that is by formation of zoospores. Okay, zoospores are the motile spores. And sexual reproduction takes place by fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes here. Okay, so these gametes, male and female gamete. So let us talk about the classification of this algae into 3 classes. So these are classified mainly based on the pigments. So the algae are classified into 3 classes: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae. Chlorophyceae, also called as green algae, Phaeophyce, brown algae, Rhodophyce, red algae. Okay, so let us talk about them one by one in detail. First, Chlorophyce. So these are a group of algae, usually green in color. So they are commonly called as green algae. And the dominant pigment present in them are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. And this body here, this is one example of green algae here. The cell wall is rigid because of the presence of two layers. That is the inner layer made up of cellulose and the outer layer made up of pectose. And they contain organelle which is responsible for photosynthesis, and this is what we call it as chloroplast. And inside the chloroplast they store the food, and the storage body is called as pyrenoid here. So you find a pyrenoid in the chloroplast. So here the pyrenoid is composed of protein and starch. Now if you look at the body form in the algae, it can be, okay, especially that of a green algae, okay, it can be from unicellular, flagellate, non-flagellate, or that is motile and non-motile, to the filamentous structure, okay, like cladophora here, filamentous structure, and then to the multicellular branch structure. They can also form a colony. Now talking about the chloroplast, which is an important organelle for the photosynthesis. So the chloroplast shape can be cup shape, discoid shape, C shape, ribbed shape, reticulate, spiral, and stellate. Okay, so next, reproduction. Reproduction in Chlorophyce occurs by three means. Vegetative means, that is fragmentation. Okay, so if the plant part breaks, each one will grow into thallus. Next is asexual reproduction by formation of zoospores and also by binary fission. Sexual reproduction takes place by fusion of gametes. The fusion of gametes, again here, the gametes here, okay, it may be morphologically similar. Okay, one acting as male, another acting as this female, male and female here. So since these two are similar, morphologically same, such a type of gamete is called isogamete. Okay, now we have next another type of gamete here. Okay, morphologically, just by looking at this, you can see they are distinct. One is larger, one is smaller. So in this picture, you can see a large, okay, flagellated, and a small flagellated, biflagellated. Okay, so they look dissimilar. Such a kind of gamete are called as anisogamete. This is anisogamete. Okay, so the third type of gamete is again isogamete, but a special type of isogamete. Here you can see that, okay, in the case of female egg, the case of female, it is non-motile. They do not have any, okay, locomotory structure. They do not have flagella. So these are non-motile, larger, okay, large in size, and they are stationary because they have no flagella. But in the case of male, they are flagellated here. They are flagellated here. So such a type of gamete is called as oogamous or oogamete. Okay, so the reproduction in green okay, algae, or you can say chlorophyce, takes place by fragmentation in, okay, that is by vegetative means. Asexual, that is zoospore. Here you can see in the case of zoospore, okay, there are two flagella here, okay, and they are produced in a zoosporangium. And then sexual reproduction, so sexual reproduction can be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Okay, so these are some examples of chlorophyce like Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ulothrix, Frishilla, Vulva, Hytotecton, and Cara. Next, the second class of thallophytes or the algae, we call it as Phaeophyce or brown algae. Okay, they are usually marine. They are found in salt water. And the major pigment present in them are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoid, xanthophyll, and fucoxanthin. And the type of food they store is in the form of laminarin or mannitol. Now, The vegetative cell. So this is one such example of phaeophycy here. The vegetative cell, if you look at each individual cell, the vegetative cell has a cell wall which is made up of cellulose, and over that it is covered by a gelatinous coating called as algin, which has a commercial use. Now in some of the algae, okay, that is brown phaeophycy, okay, the body has, okay, root like, stem like, and leaf like. Okay, so these body are attached to the substratum by a root like structure called as holdfast, and they have a stem like structure called as stipes. And then the photosynthetic part, the green or the brown part, okay, having the pigment called as front. And some group also have a gas bladder. Okay, so the plant body are usually attached to the substratum by holdfast, and it has a stalk called as stipe, and then the photosynthetic organ called as front. Okay, so the body form in the phaeophycy, it range from okay, of course they are multicellular. They range from simple branch to highly profusely branched. Okay, so this is ectocarpus and this is scalp here, and this scalp, okay, the height is so big and it forms like a forest in the ocean. Okay, so ectocarpus, scalp, and dictyota, and this is sargassum. Now talking about the reproduction, they reproduce through vegetative means, asexual means, and sexual means. So vegetative reproduction takes place by again fragmentation, and asexual reproduction takes place by zoospore formation. Here the zoospore are pear-shaped and they are also biflagellated, but the length of the flagella is unequal and they are attached laterally. Sexual reproduction can be isogamous, anasogamous, or oogamous. Okay, so during the sexual reproduction, as you know that there is a fusion of gamete. So the fusion of gamete may take place in water or within the oogonium. Okay, that is the oogamous species. And the gametes are again pear-shaped and bear two laterally arranged or attached flagella. So here, as discussed here, so if you look at this life cycle in the organism, we can see that, okay, the organism here, zoospore is produced having a flagella here. The flagella are laterally placed here and they are unequal in size. And these zoospores germinate to form gametophyte. And this gametophyte, okay, so this is male gametophyte, this is female gametophyte, and male gametophyte produce a gamete called as antherozoite, and these antherozoites are biflagellated, and these flagella are placed in the lateral position, and the egg is present in the female gametophyte. Okay, so this fusion of the egg, okay, so here the egg is the type of reproduction or sexual reproduction shown is oogamous. So egg is inside the female body here, and then fertilization takes place, leads to formation of zygote. Zygote will further develop into sporophyte, and then again this sporophyte body we have. This sporophyte body will produce spores. And these are some examples of phaeophycy. Okay. Next, the third group is rhodophycy or the red algae. Okay, so the predominant pigments are R-phycoerythrin, because of which the plant appears red. And majority of them are marine, and in the marine also they are found mainly in warmer area. This group of algae are found in well-lighted region, that is near the ocean surface, or they're also found in relatively little light region like in the depth of the ocean. Okay, and the body is multicellular and the food store is in the form of floridin starch. Reproduction again takes place through vegetative means, asexual means, and sexual means. Now here what you have to okay focus is that, of course, vegetatively, okay, vegetative reproduction by fragmentation. Now here the difference you find here is the asexual spores are non-motile. Okay, so in the case of chlorophyce and phaeophyce, the spores are motile. They are zoospores. They're motile. They're with flagella. But in the case of rhodophyce, the asexual spores are non-motile. And also the sexual spores, sorry, sexual gametes, they also reproduce by, okay, reproduce sexually, and the gametes, especially thereof, okay, okay, gametes, okay, that is male and female gametes, are also non-motile. And the type of gametes forms are oogametes, that is a larger female, non-motile, and a smaller, okay, motile, smaller male gamete. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, if you look at the picture, okay, let us just try to understand its life cycle. Here, I have given one example here. So this is a plant body here, and this plant body produces spores by undergoing, the plant body is diploid. Diploid means each cell has a chromosome, and chromosomes are in two sets. There are two sets of chromosomes. So when it undergo meiosis, you get a haploid spores here. And these haploid spores, okay, it will germinate, it will grow into male gametophyte, and female gametophyte. Male gametophyte will produce spermatangia. Okay, female gametophyte has a carpogonium. Okay, so here the male gametophyte, name itself suggests it produces male gamete. Female gametophyte produce female gamete. Okay, so here the male gamete spermatia are produced and female gamete egg is produced here. Fertilization takes place inside the female body here and lead to the formation of zygote, which is 2N. Okay, so here it started with 2N, diploid, undergoes haploid, okay, meiosis to produce haploid, haploid male gametophyte, haploid female gametophyte, and each one will produce gamete, and gamete are always haploid in all the kind of organisms, and these two haploid gamete fuse together to form a diploid zygote here. And this diploid zygote, okay, undergoes further cell division and then later on become tetrasporophyte. It becomes sporophyte, and in the sporophyte again in some of the cell undergoes meiosis to produce spores. So this is the life cycle here. Okay, so here this is asexual spores here, and this is a sexual reproduction where male gamete and female gamete fuse to form zygote. So some examples are Porphyra, Thoria, Gelidium, okay, and Gracilaria and so on. Now let's look at the uses of algae. Okay, so these algae are, okay, responsible for carbon dioxide fixation on Earth. Okay, and these are fixed for the purpose of photosynthesis. So that means because of the photosynthesis, they increases the level of dissolved oxygen. Since they are aquatic, so they increase the dissolved oxygen in the water body. Okay, you know that during photosynthesis, oxygen is one of the byproducts. And these also forms a primary producer of energy-rich compound, okay, which is the basis of food cycle for all the aquatic animals. So they become a primary producers in water body. So many species of them are edible, they are used as food, and they are also used commercially, such as algin and carrageen. They are used as hydrocolloid substance, okay, and then agar is also used commercially, okay, in the preparation of ice creams and jellies. So agar is uh, obtained from Gracilaria and Gelidium. And talking about this one, chlorella. Chlorella is used as a food supplement by space traveler because this chlorella is rich in protein. Okay, now let us just look at let's just summarize the okay, division of algae, and let us look at some of the main characteristics. So let's talk about chlorophyce. So the chlorophyce is commonly called as green algae, and the major pigments are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, and the stored food is in the form of starch. Cell wall is cellulosic, and talking about the flagella and their position, number and position. Okay, so the number range from 2 to 8. The flagella are equal in size and the position is apical. habitat. They are found in freshwater, brackish water, and salt water. Next, Phaeophyceae, commonly called as brown algae. Major pigments are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and fucoxanthin. The food are stored in the form of mannitol or laminarin. The cell wall has cellulose and algin. As discussed here, this algin is used commercially as hydrocolloids. And the number of flagella is only two, which are unequal and lateral in position. They are found in, they are rarely found in fresh water, but mostly found in brackish water and salt water. The third class of, the third classes under algae is Rhodophyceae, commonly called as red algae. The major pigments are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll D, and phycoerythrin. And the food stored is in the form of fluoridin starch. Cell wall has cellulose, pectin, and polysulfate ester. The flagella is absent here. As we discussed here, in the case of Rhodophyceae, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, in both the case, the spores are non-motile. We have already discussed here. So here, this is different here. So these two are flagellated. And this is non-flagellated, non-motile. And they are found, some of them are found in fresh water, but most of them are found in salt water and also in brackish water. So that's all about the first division of plant kingdom, that is algae. So in the next session, we'll discuss about bryophyte and teratophyte. Thank you.